What's up, you guys? Zoeb here from OneGlanceTrader.com, and in this video we'll be looking at, is Starbucks a buy? So they have just released earnings about an hour ago, and as you can see, after hours they are up around 4.5%. I've seen it up to 5.5% after hours. So if we have a quick look at their earnings there, so their Q1 2022 earnings, they missed EPS. And they were basically flat on revenue. So I am surprised to see Starbucks up at the moment, considering the current market conditions. I think they did a beat on their North American business in terms of top line. I know international was also down as well, and I think they had like a 20% drop in top line revenue from China. So again, really interested to understand why they are up 4.6%, but that is the current market for you. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at what is the buy price or strike price of Starbucks if you are interested in purchasing this stock. So if you like the sound of that, all I ask for is that you smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And if there's a particular stock ticker you want me to have a look at, comment down below and I will do a video on that as well. So if you guys are new, I like to look at value investing or intrinsic value for a stock. And I think this chart explains it quite well, is that the intrinsic value or fair value is basically a stock's worth if it's sold all its assets and all that kind of good stuff. And we as investors and traders are trying to understand what or calculate what that intrinsic value is. And once we've established what that is, we look where that is compared against the current market price. Are we underpriced or overpriced? And there are many valuation models that you can use to calculate intrinsic value. We will be using the earnings valuation. And again, you can do this because I built a free indicator within TradingView. So we're going to use that indicator to calculate the EPS valuation for Starbucks. But before we do that, if we look at Starbucks on a weekly chart, you can see here it is down 42% from its July highs back in 2021. So this stock has fallen by a lot. And so people that are interested in Starbucks, you might drink Starbucks, you might go out and eat at Starbucks, and you might think, it's now dropped to a price where I don't mind owning some shares or owning 100 shares and start doing covered calls on them. But is $73 or $78 post, is this the right price to be buying? So to calculate the intrinsic value, as I said, I have created the OGT intrinsic value calculator, and the model has three assumption lines that you can create, but these lines are effectively this intrinsic value line over here. And I'll go into the assumptions on this, and I do have a dedicated video on how to use this indicator. Links up above at the top in the description, wherever you want to find it. I'm sure you will find it. So now what I like to do here is, when it comes to earning valuation models, what we need what is the EPS annual growth for the next 5 years. So this valuation model, or what has been built in this indicator, is looking at a 5-year outlook. So we need to understand what is the earnings per share annual growth every single year going to be annually. So the way we kind of work that out is we use analyst estimates to give us our kind of high starting figure. So the way you do that, if you go to Yahoo Finance, type in Starbucks or any ticker that you want, head over to the analysis section. Well, it's up to 5.29% now. You will see here right at the bottom, it has got growth estimates. And what it has is a section called next 5 years. And as you can see, for Starbucks, the analysts assume that Starbucks will grow annually at around their earnings by 11.13%. So what I like to do is use that as the high figure, and what I like to do is work my way down into a medium assumption and a very conservative assumption there. And again, you can use other analyst estimates through different sites or your own estimates based on your own growth rates on looking at various things, what Starbucks are doing. But again, this is a very quick and dirty view on giving us a price for Starbucks. What we need is the PE ratio, or what that multiple is going to be of those earnings in year 5. And again, the way we do that is by coming up with a PE ratio. And what I like to do to calculate the PE ratio in year 5 is heading over to Y charts and looking at the PE ratio history for Starbucks. So on a free account, or you don't even need to be logged in, you can check 5 years for free. And as you can see here, at the low end, it's been trading around the 18s, 16s, and then during the kind of, rise up in 2021, it went to a high of 190. Wow. And now trading back down at a more reasonable PEs of about 20. So we've got 20 here currently, and we've seen lows of around 16. So again, the higher the PE multiple, the more growth you expect. Starbucks is a big company, right? So I don't think they're going to grow that much over the next 5 years. So I've gone conservative, and again, the lower the number, the lower the intrinsic value is going to be, because we want to be more on the conservative side. So I've gone with the higher 15, and then 13 and 12. And for my annual rate of return, I've gone for 12.5%, because what we do is, once we've multiplied the year 5 earnings growth by the PE for the assumption we're looking at, we then need to discount that back based on how much return we want to have for this particular stock back to the present day. So we need to understand what is the year 1 price that we want to pay for Starbucks. And I like to use 12.5%, and the reason for that is you can buy a standard S&P 500 index fund and get about 9 to 10% a year on average. Now, because I'm taking more risk in investing in one particular stock, and I want a bit of a cushion or a margin of safety, so I'm going with 12.5%. And again, the higher the number, the lower the fair value, intrinsic value is going to be. And obviously, the higher the number, yeah, the lower, and the higher the number, the lower, the higher the intrinsic value is going to be. So, again, you can play around with these numbers, but I think 12.5% is a good starting point, and then you can go from there. So, and then what it does, it plots it all on the table, and then plots it nicely for you on a graph. And I'm just going to get rid of the table, which you can do. And you can get rid of the lines and also the labels if you just want the table. But you can see here that even with the high assumption, Starbucks is at $53. And even if I increase the PE to, let's say, 20, let's see what happens here if I do that. If I do to 20, we are still at 70 dollars, which is thereabouts of the current price, or post price at 78. So we are not, in my personal opinion, we're not at a point of where we should be looking to buy Starbucks. And if I put it back down to, let's say, let's call it, I think I had it at 18, didn't I, or 19 probably. But even if we put it here at $63, I like to look at somewhere, depending on how much I have conviction in the stock, or I want to own the stock. I will look between the high and the medium assumption. If I really not interested in the stock, but it's really undervalued, then I'll probably look at more like the low assumption. So even if we start looking, or I get interested in this stock at about $55, let's say. So what I like to do then is, let's say it's around $55 is where I'm starting to get interested in Starbucks. I personally sell puts on stocks to start building out a position. So if you go to the options chain for Starbucks, I like to do like a month out. So let's go with May 3rd. So we go to June 3rd. We go to puts at around, what was it, the 55 strike? Did I say $55 strike? I can get around, $30, and that's still a long way to go from, the current price of where we at now, 78. So if I just did 78 minus 55 divided by 50, 58.78. The stock still has to drop by another 30% to get to around my strike price in a month. And the good thing is I can potentially get paid, $30, which is 0.3 divided by 55. It's not the best return, if I'm honest with you. 0.5% return for a month's work. And again, if you see my other videos, you can easily get 1 to 1.5%. So I wouldn't even be selling puts at the 55 strike. I would wait for Starbucks to drop in the late 60s for me then to start being interested to start selling puts on Starbucks. So for me, this is a wait if you're interested in this particular stock. And all about value investing is about patience. So again, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. You can download the indicator. It's the first link inside the description. You just click on indicators and type in OGT. Once you get onto TradingView, you can see all my indicators are on there. For you. So hope you've enjoyed it. Put your tickers down below, and I shall see you guys in the next video.